Hello and welcome to the Daily Millwall for Saturday, the 20th of February 2021. Today was match day. It was a home game against Wycombe Wanderers and it ended in another draw. It was Millwall nil, Wycombe Wanderers nil. It was quite disappointing, to be honest with you, especially for me because that result lost me £500. I had a 5-team accumulator with Lincoln, Sunderland, Millwall, Norwich and Sutton, and Millwall were the only team that let me down. But apart from that, just the game in itself, the players looked really tired because it was, I think it was the same starting 11 as the team Birmingham from Wednesday. I don't know why no changes were made. Same system. We know we're at home with Matt Smith up on his own, and you're expecting Mason Bennett and Jed Wallace to play off of him, and that didn't really work. It was very isolating for him, and you can see after the changes got made in the second half, we put him to the sword. We were gung ho, and they were on the ropes, struggling to get to the bell, which was a full-time whistle when it come, and they got the draw that they wanted, and we didn't get the win that we should be getting against Wycombe Wanderers at home. They're the poorest team in this league. Anyway, this is from skysports.com. It's a match report. Let's have a read of it. So it says Millwall extended their unbeaten run in the Championship to 8 games after a 0-0 draw with Wycombe at the Den. Gary Rowett's side came closest to taking all 3 points through Scott Malone's second half strike, but David Stockdale back in the Wycombe goal after an emergency loan at Stevenage ensured it ended goalless. So that keeper today was playing at Stevenage. That's who we were playing against. The hosts created the first chance of the match after 11 minutes when the marauding Marlon Romeo switched onto his left foot and fired low and hard at Stockdale before Jed Wallace blasted a follow-up over the bar from an offside position. Neither side managed to take control of the game or threaten the goalkeepers until Ben Thompson caught hold of an awkward volley but failed to keep it down. The Chairboys registered their first attempt in the 36th minute when Daryl Horgan fired at Bartosz Białkowski's top corner, but the Polish stopper was on trouble and beat the ball away. Rowett's side did not look like a team that had won their last 3 league matches, as Mason Bennett wrangled his way through the Wycombe defence, but the angle was not quite right for him and resulted in another cumbersome effort. And you can see the starting lineups there. And basically once all 3 of the attacking players were taken off, we switched on to another gear, and maybe it was too little too late. Maybe the changes should have come earlier. Maybe the changes should have come before the start of the game. Anyway, 3 minutes after the break, Romeo made another one of his impressive forward runs and clipped it into the box for Bennett, who ended up in a heap on the floor, allowing Stockdale to collect easily. Stockdale was called into action again moments later when Malone found himself in space on the left flank and let fly from 16 yards, but the former Fulham man reached out a strong hand to keep it out. There was a long delay for Wycombe skipper Anthony Stewart to receive treatment around the hour mark, but he was past fit to continue. The Chairboys were convinced they should have had a penalty when Fred Onyedinma got goal side of Alex Pearce and went to the ground, but the appeals were waved away as it looked destined to end goalless. Still, Millwall searched for an equaliser and might have found one in 3 minutes remaining, but Stockdale was waiting at his near post to gather up John Daddy Bodvarson's flicked header. The draw leaves Gareth Ainsworth's Chairboys rooted to the bottom of the table, while Millwall continued their assault on the top half with a trip to strugglers Luton Town next on the agenda. What the manager said, I'm going to skip what Gary Rowett said because I'm going to get that in the next stories we look at. I'm going to read the one. Wycombe's Gareth Ainsworth. We could always do with 3 points. The boys were hard done by in midweek, but a clean sheet away from home at Millwall, and if we were offered that at the start of the season, we'd have took it. Neither team really got the ball down and played, and Millwall paid us a huge amount of respect by playing 5 at the back, so they were very difficult to break down. This game won't live long in the memory, but if we can win against Reading, it becomes a fantastic result for us. There's still plenty of games to go and it's still in our hands, so that's good. There's plenty of games left for us to stay up, and if we keep playing the way we have done in the last 3 games, we will have a right go. So that's what their manager thinks. I'm going to move on now to, this is from londonnewsonline.co.uk. It is the South London Press's online website, and it's basically quotes from Gary Rowett. It says Millwall boss feared Wycombe match could be a banana skin and the injured players left him low on options. Gary Rowett was not left too disappointed by Millwall taking a point from this afternoon's 0-0 stalemate with Wycombe Wanderers. It was the Lions' 15th draw of the Championship campaign, but the result did extend their unbeaten league run to 8 matches ahead of a Tuesday night trip to Luton Town. Rowett said, "In terms of passing the ball, I felt we passed it better than we did against Birmingham. It was a game where we had most of the control, 65% possession. Wycombe didn't trouble us too much, apart from a set-piece moment, but we couldn't convert that into chances on goal. Our quality in the final third was poor. We huffed and puffed and just couldn't convert the good play and moments in the final third into a chance on goal. That was the frustration. In hindsight, I thought about making changes today, but because of the injuries we've got to the squad, it was always very difficult. You saw the bench. It was really difficult to change it effectively. We're missing key players. If you put Ryan Leonard and Michael Keftenbeld in today, Kenzo Hall and Conor Mahoney, then you see a very different outlook to the game. But as it is, we've got to muddle through. The players who came in defended and worked diligently, but when we needed a little more cutting edge, we didn't quite find it today. 4 wins and 4 draws, it's another clean sheet. I actually felt today might be the banana skin game that undid us off the back of the 3 good wins on the spin. I'm disappointed with the quality, but I'm not overly disappointed with a point. There were penalty claims for both sides, and while Wycombe boss Gary Hainsworth thought his side were denied one when Fred Onyedinma went down under pressure from Alex Pearce in the box, Rowett did not agree. I've seen them both, neither was a penalty. There wasn't much in the game that made me think they were penalties. So, excuses there from Gary Rowett. He still had the players on the bench though. Every substitute place on the bench was filled with a player. So it's not, when teams have a lot of injuries, sometimes they don't even have enough players to put on the bench. But we have players to put on the bench. If we got players to put on the bench, we got players to start. You could have switched them around. You know, Bodvarsson could have started. Bradshaw could have started. Ferguson could have started. Even Bury could have started. Billy Mitchell could have started. Because the players that did start were knackered. He looked knackered after 35 minutes. Yeah, we'll see if he better make changes for Tuesday's game. Otherwise, that's a tougher game. I mean, if we play in the same team that we played last 2 games, in the third one against Luton ain't gonna cut it. Let's move on now. This is from news@den.co.uk. This is more words from Gary Rowett. It said, boss felt poor state of Den pitch affected Millwall more than struggling Wycombe Wanderers. So, more excuses from Gary Rowett there. Gary Rowett felt the poor state of the Den pitch hindered his side more than the Wycombe in the side stalemate on Saturday. The Lions had more than 60% possession but couldn't make a breakthrough against the Championship's bottom side. Millwall had planned to relay the pitch last summer but shelved it with so much uncertainty around the return of fans and gate income. Certainly for us it makes a difference, but there's been a quick turnaround this year. If you look up and down the country, most teams' pitches aren't good, Rowett said. We knew ours was going to get ripped up in the summer for a brand new pitch, real quality pitch. At the moment, we are just getting through this period. You could see it really dried out. Made it quite bobbly, but that was the issue. We actually passed the ball to get into the final third fairly well, but when you just want the speed of the ball to be able to move and interplay in the final third, we just didn't have that. That was the issue with the game, and I think both teams found that problem, but it was a bigger problem for us because we had more control of the game. We got into the final third far more than Wycombe. So Gary out blaming injuries, blaming the pitch, blaming himself for playing the same team 2 games in a row from Wednesday to Saturday. Only 2 days rest between them. Yeah. Now we've got another game where we've only got 2 days rest, Sunday and Monday, and then we play on Tuesday at Luton. So maybe I'm just bitter because that cost me my bet. This is the table, how it stands after all of today's games. As you can see, we are in 11th place. We have 42 points. We are 3 points adrift to the team above us. So, and we're 3 points ahead of the team below us. So, we're going to be here for a while. It's going to take a couple of games, maybe 3 or 4 games, for any movement up or down. And it's realistic, it's probably going to be down because of the injuries we got. You can see split into home and away, and you can see that was our 10th home draw of the season. 10th. Nottingham Forest have 6 home draws, Coventry have 6, and everyone else has less than 5. So less than half or less than the draws that we've had at home in the league this season. So maybe we'll get a decent result at Luton because that's an away game. Or maybe not. Who knows? If we lose to Luton, that's going to suck us back down because they're 16th place with 37 points. So that's going to bring them to 40, us staying at 42. Norwich are breaking away at the top of the league. They are now 7 points ahead of Brentford in second. Brentford are wobbling massively. Looks like Norwich are up and away. They are a pretty decent team. They know how to score. But Wycombe, look at Wycombe. They've lost 10. They've played 15 away games. They've lost 10 of them. And only got 3 draws, and one of them was the game today. But that's how it goes. We can get a result against teams above us because I don't know what happens if players actually try, or because we're the underdog, we can play on the counter because we don't have to. The other team has the possession and we just counter the possession, whereas we couldn't do that today because we had all the possession and just didn't do jack with it. So maybe it was that, but it happens more times than it doesn't, where we turn in a result against teams above us, and we're absolute piss poor against teams below us, and especially teams in the bottom third of the table. Anyway, that was it. Today's result: Mill 0, Wycombe 0. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.